For some 40 years, going back to his days as a child star, Michael Jackson lived a life that was lit by flashbulbs. Changing looks, a constant source of interest to the paparazzi. Yet after his 2005 acquittal on child molestation charges, U.S. interest in his image dwindled. But this man, 29-year-old Ben Evenstad, and his National Photo Group team never stopped following him. They were outside his home on the day Jackson died.
From the end of 2008 up until his death, how closely would you say you and your team followed Michael Jackson?
We would do stakeouts at the house about 6 or 7 days a week, so almost every single day.
You've seen a lot of celebrities through your lens. What makes Michael Jackson different from all of them?
Well, I think for starters, visually, he always made for a better paparazzi picture. He would wear masks and hats and outfits and disguises and always a lot of umbrellas and bodyguards, and the children would have masks on. No other celebrity is like that, not even close.
The photographs taken by Evenstad and his team over the last 7 months offer surprising insights into the daily rhythms of Jackson's life.
What kinds of things would your photographers see when they were there?
He would come out 2 or 3 times a week, and usually just to go to the doctor's office, or to go shopping maybe, or to the doctor's and then shopping.
He'd go out and go to the dermatologist's office. And
he went to the Arnold Klein's, the building where Arnold Klein's office is, almost every day.
When he would go to the doctor's, what places was he going to?
He went to a few different places, but primarily he went to one building in Beverly Hills. This medical building he would go to is where Dr. Arnold Klein has his office. It's a big building with a lot of doctors, but presumably he may have been going there.
Would he go to this doctor's office with his children?
Sometimes with the children, not always. Usually he would go by himself. Sometimes he would be there for as little as half an hour, 40 minutes, sometimes for as much as 4 or 5 hours.
And despite his money problems, Jackson often followed those visits with shopping expeditions.
What kind of places was he going shopping at this point?
Antique stores and bookstores. The same places he's been going shopping since I've started photographing him 10 years ago.
We have heard about him having money troubles. What kind of antiquing was he doing?
Despite the reports of his money troubles, it didn't seem to slow him down in terms of shopping. He would go and kind of point at a bunch of stuff, and then, he would go home, and then later in the day, a bodyguard would go and pick up all the stuff that he had purchased and bring it home.
Thank you.
Only rarely would he venture out at night, though one longtime friend did get frequent visits.
Well, he would regularly go to Elizabeth Taylor's house for the last 6 months. In fact, when he came back to LA last fall, he told the fans, I need to move to LA so I can be close to Liz Taylor.
But when Jackson started rehearsals for the This Is It tour, his normal routine began to change.
He had been rehearsing almost every day, 5, 6 days a week. He would go there usually in the afternoon, 2 or 3 p.m., and sometimes stay 3 or 4 hours, or sometimes all the way till midnight, 1 a.m.
What, if any, sense did you get that he might be deteriorating somehow in this period?
None whatsoever. I'll tell you, the last 3 months, the way he was rehearsing so heavily, it really seemed like, wow, this is actually going to happen, and he's going to be able to do these 50 dates. So there was really no indication, at least from an outside perspective, that of any deterioration.
In other words, when we think of downward spiral, where we think of I'm barricading myself in my house, I'm not coming out, I'm just taking drugs, that kind of thing, and you saw him being very active.
Especially the last 3 months, yeah, very, very active. There were periods prior to that where he wouldn't come out for 3 or 4 days at a time, but that was kind of run-of-the-mill for him.
As he settled into the house off Sunset Boulevard for what would be his final days, paparazzo Ben Evenstad recalls seeing a more basic array of support staff.
There was the tutor for the children would come in and out. The chef would kind of be back and forth all day, housekeepers, the staff.
What do you remember about the last day of his life?
Started just like any other day. I assigned one of my photographers to go and wait at the house, and he called me and said an ambulance just went in. So we went to the house, and by this point, the original photographer had looked into the window of the fire trucks and saw on the screen that had the 911 report, and it said 50-year-old male not breathing. Me and my photographers went up and tried to get photos.
What were you able to get?
Well, one of our photographers actually was able to get an image where you can clearly see inside the ambulance Michael laying down and oxygen mask over his face, and one of the other paramedics had his hands on his chest, maybe doing chest compressions.
Only later in the day did Evenstad realize that his team had captured what appears to be the last photo ever taken of Michael Jackson. It was sold for a sum reported to be in the high six figures.
My feelings about that photograph and every photograph we take is we're there to record the news.
Does it feel weird to have taken a picture of, or to have your guys take a picture of a dead celebrity?
Weird in the sense that it's never happened before for us.
Evenstad's fascination with the Michael Jackson story is not fading. He's already thinking of the next most sought-after subject.
I think the next picture is going to be Debbie Rowe if she decides that she is going to pursue custody of the children. So I think that's going to be the next, big picture.
He was the ultimate outsider looking in, but even this celebrity-savvy paparazzo remains struck by what he'll remember most, Jackson's kindness to his fans.
I love you, Michael. Love you.
He was very gracious and very accommodating both to these fans that would follow him around, to the paparazzi. He was very good to us, and to the general public who would always stop and take time to greet people and sign autographs.
A unique bond between celebrity and fan, captured in images like these. It is part of Jackson's legacy, and now the wellspring of so much sadness.
My name is Ben Evenstad. I'm a paparazzi photographer and owner of National Photo Group. We're a photo agency that was at the house the day Michael Jackson passed away. The ambulance was inside for over 40 minutes. That's the call screen that indicated that it was a 50-year-old male, and that's what gave it away to us that it was Michael Jackson. There's a lot of confusion during this 40 minutes. The gates kept opening and closing, and all the tour buses still were going by. The bodyguards started sending all the employees out of the house. I think 8 to 10 employees left the house during this time. Okay, this is when they were actually bringing Michael out on the stretcher. And you can see it just for a split second there. The bodyguards and a fan also was trying very hard to, for video not to be taken. And then this is when, they already had he was already in the ambulance and they were backing out. It was such a tight fit. It took them a little while to get going. At this point, on the outside, there was 2 female fans, 4 of us, and 2 autograph collectors, and that was it. It was pretty quiet outside. There was a lot of days outside Michael's house when there'd be 20, 25 people. Fans would come from Europe, and a lot of paparazzi, and it's a lot of craziness. But it was actually pretty quiet this day. In 1,000 years, we never thought he would pass away. You know, he's just about to go to Europe and do this big concert. So we thought it was just, you know, kind of Michael being Michael, you know, another emergency. But I thought, you know, we can probably get a picture of him in the ambulance. And I told the photographers, you know, when the ambulance comes out, make sure we try to get Michael inside the ambulance. I was the first car following the ambulance and the 2 trucks, and then 3 of our guys were behind me, so there was 4 of us total. When we did realize we had the photo, and we called around to try to sell it, it was the day Farrah Fawcett died. And a lot of people said, well, we're not really interested in another Michael story because Farrah Fawcett passed away, and that's going to be all the coverage tonight. Of course, an hour later, they announced Michael died, and that superseded everything.
Tour buses are a regular sight on Carrollwood Drive, fans snapping photos of the house where Michael Jackson has been rehearsing for his upcoming concert tour. But just after noon, paramedics were called after he suddenly collapsed. A passerby says for a moment, fans tangled with ambulances trying to rush Jackson to the hospital.
There was like ambulances, there was like 3 of those, and ambulances, there was like 3 of those. There's like star map people in vans that drive around here, and it's funny because the back of the vans are open, so there was 2 of them, and they were like kind of blocking the ambulances.